These 1, 2, 3 here at Mugello, and probably the favourites, but these two chaps might not agree. Steve Soper and JJ Leto in the McLaren BMW. Steve, what chance do you think you have still in this championship?
Well, there's still 3 races to go. I think it's wide open. Obviously, they're very competitive, but our sort of ace card, if you like, has been our reliability, and hopefully now Schneider can't jump from car to car. So if we're reliable here and he has a problem, we could cling some points back. But I don't know. I mean, to outrace them, maybe we can do it here. I don't think they're as competitive as they've been elsewhere, but they always surprise us as what they can do. So we'll have to wait and see, but we haven't given up yet.
JJ, 4th on the grid and you're taking the start. What's the strategy then?
Go flat out. What else can we say, you know? If I mean, we really have to play the game right, but, you know, the only way is to go as fast as you can all the way, and just hope that the Michelin tires are working well enough. I mean, we have good tire here, and we are much closer to Mercedes than we have been in the last 2-3 races, so it looks good in that way. But, you know, it's 4 hours, and it's up to tires quite a lot on this circuit. This is very hard on front tires, and, you know, hopefully the tires and also the setup we have is good enough to be quick enough, you know.
Okay, well, good luck to both of you. I'm sure every neutral here would like to see the championship stay alive. Let's find out now how the other cars have qualified.
No surprise to see Bernd Schneider once again on pole, with the other 2 Mercedes, CLK's 2nd and 3rd. Schneider's lap was nearly a second quicker than JJ Leto's in the McLaren. But remember, drivers must now stay in the car they start the race with.
In the race, I think the McLaren BMW will be in good shape and will be a bit more harder than in qualifying. I hope we can get it and can get a bigger distance in the point standing. But it looks maybe easier than it is, and I think there will be a hard race.
The Parabolica McLarens qualified 17th.
We've had our fair share of problems in qualifying, which was a bit unfortunate. We did improve those, and in the warm-up the car was very good, so we're actually quite optimistic for the race. It's disappointing because we hope to do better in qualifying, and when you're this far back, it's a bit of a problem.
Starting just ahead of the yellow McLaren is the Dave Price Paynos of David Brabham and the ever-jocular Perry McCarthy.
It's going to be tough, and the ambience is going to be difficult for us as well, because as you may know, our cockpit temperatures are pretty high, so but it keeps the weight down, so there you go.
You have this sort of dried ice set up now, don't you?
Well, actually, we haven't got any for this weekend. It's I think somebody ate it.
So you're going to be very, very warm.
Yeah, we're looking for somebody who's blue in the face at the moment. He's got the dry ice. It's going to be hot and it's going to be tough, but you know, as ever, we'll take the fight to them.
The GT2 battle is hotting up as well. Claudia Hurtgen and Bruno Eichmann will start this one behind the Vipers of Gash and Beretta and Britain's Justin Bell, who's sharing with Luca Drudi.
So the GTs are on their rolling lap, the 3 Mercedes CLKs taking the pack around this circuit at Mugello. Let's rejoin Simon Taylor for commentary.
3 Mercedes leading the rolling grid from the Leto McLaren. Frank Lagorce has qualified a surprising 5th in the French Paynos, ahead of Yannick Dalmas, 6th in the fastest of the Porsches. And as they come up to the start-finish line, the course car pulls off, the race is on, the 2 Mercedes move, but it's Schneider who is easing ahead as they go up the slight incline and downhill again towards that long first right-hander. It's Schneider with the yellow mirrors who's on the outside, with the red mirrors. Ludwig goes into 2nd place. Alessandro Nannini on his own ground, of course, in 3rd place. That is the Sandy Ground Lotus, which has to start late from the pit lane. But yellow mirrors from red mirrors from blue mirrors means that it's Schneider leading, Ludwig in 2nd place, Nannini in 3rd place, JJ Leto's McLaren is 4th. Puff of smoke there from the yellow McLaren. That is the Parabolica car moving up. The rest of the field jockeying for position, but it is indeed a Mercedes 1, 2, 3 as they come sweeping through the curves behind the pits, behind the paddock. It's Schneider from Ludwig, from Nannini. Leto is 4th. Frank Lagorce is in 5th place. It's Roberto Ravaglia 6th in the 2nd Schnitzer McLaren, and then Yannick Dalmas, Jan Lammers and the little yellow Lotus has started well once again. He's 8th, ahead of Boutsen, Bouchou, Collard, who is 11th, and Raphael 12th. The GT1 Porsches showing in 7th, 9th, 10th and 11th places, so they're better placed at this early stage than they have been in several of the recent rounds, and a little run up the curb there for the normally scrupulously tidy Bernd Schneider, but he's obviously pushing on very hard, as he likes to do in this early stage, to try and build up a cushion from the pursuit. Schneider, Ludwig, Nannini, a glimpse there of the GT2 cars, which are being led at the moment by the Viper of Philippe Gache, ahead of the Bruno Eichmann Porsche, but there once more the Mercedes 1, 2, 3, the white McLaren with the red checkered stripe down the middle. That is JJ Leto in 4th place, puffs of flame from the exhausts of the black Paynos in 5th place. And now we see a replay of the start. We're on board that black Paynos, the Dams Paynos, with Frank Lagorce at the wheel, and he's sitting in behind JJ Leto's McLaren as they go storming away down over that slight brow, and Lagorce having a little look at the inside as on go the brake lights of JJ Leto's car, and they funnel through the long right-hander, which is turn 1, and then accelerate on up the hill. Here's another replay. This is the GT2 championship leader Bruno Eichmann getting away, and in front of him, look at those two Vipers, first and second already in GT2, and he's going to have a little go down the inside. He's trying to go past Drudy. He does so. An old-fashioned manual gear change coming down the box, flicking the wheel right and then left as he battles understeer and oversteer, and then accelerates up. He's second in GT2, and the brake lights go on from the Philippe Gache Viper ahead of him. And while that battle is going on, we go back to the front of the field. Remember that every one of these FIA GT Championship races is really 2 races in one. You've got the GT1 battle at the front, you've got the less highly modified, more production GT2 cars battling away the 911 Porsches and the Vipers. But that's the little yellow Lotus there of Jan Lammers running ahead of the number 21 Kramer Racing Porsche, the yellow one. That's Christophe Bouchou, and he's got past Thierry Boutsen and Collard following Bouchou in that trio of GT1 Porsches, still being vanquished by the little V8 Lotus of the flying little Dutchman Jan Lammers. And this is Luca Badoa coming into the pits very early in his Lotus, and I'm told, but I can't see it from here, that there's some bodywork damage on that car. He's weaving around at the wheel, and some sort of damage, obviously a bit of a traffic accident out there. 2 Vipers, 1 and 2. That's Beretta leading Drudy, who's passed Eichmann. We saw from the cockpit of Eichmann's car how he took second place in GT2 right at the start, but the might of the big 8-litre V10 Viper has taken Drudy into second place. Vipers 1 and 2, Porsche 3, and already the front runners are in among the back markers. Oh, and a moment there for Roberto Ravaglia, who had to hit the brakes very, very hard, because that black Porsche, number 73, that's Bruno Michelotti, who didn't appear to leave enough room for Roberto Ravaglia. In the pits is Christophe Bouchou. That's an early stop for him, and that's a shame because he was running strongly in the top 10. But look at the traffic. And this is an indication of how tight and twisty this Mugello circuit is, and it's going to be a feature of this race, I think, how quickly the big GT1 cars are going to find their ways past the GT2s. We're riding with the GT2, this is Luca Drudy, and Drudy is passed there by the yellow Parabolica McLaren of Gary Ailes, who goes by, working his way through the field, of course, but here's our leader, Bernd Schneider. Now a solid lead for the Mercedes with the yellow mirrors, still a Mercedes 1, 2, 3. Yannick Dalmas, there he is, now ahead of the black Paynos and up into 5th place. And in 4th place, of course, is this McLaren. That's JJ Leto with a distinctive central driving position on these 3-seater McLarens, in theory anyway, when they're in road form. And that Lotus of Jan Lammers has a huge queue behind it now. Raphael, Olofsson in the 2 Gulf McLarens, then their wonderful orange and blue livery. Then it's the red and white Porsche of Emmanuel Collard and the yellow McLaren of Gary Ailes, the Parabolica car. Remember, they started 17th on the grid. So Gary Ailes has done an excellent job of getting the Gulf McLarens now in sight, with only the Collard Porsche between him and Olofsson's car. Now the crews are getting ready, because soon we will have the first of the routine stops. That's Alexander Wurz. Now Wurz is going to take over Bernd Schneider's car, and Schneider comes in. Schneider brings in the leading car. Wurz is ready with his seat. Out gets Schneider, in gets Wurz's seat, followed by Wurz, who clambers into the tight confines of the CLK's cockpit. Out gets Alessandro Nannini from the third-place car. In gets Marcel Thiemann. All the routine pit stops taking place. Mailander has taken over from Ludwig in the other Mercedes, and Steve Soper's had a very quick stop, taking over from JJ Leto. It's still Mercedes 1, 2, 3, but look at this. Thiemann in the Nannini car has taken second. Mailander's there in third place, and right with them is Steve Soper. Second, third and fourth. The two Mercedes and the McLaren tucked right in there. They've got Jeff Lees' Gulf McLaren to lap, but Steve Soper is right up with the second and third place Mercedes in that traffic. Meanwhile, Chris Goodwin's now in the Parabolica McLaren. They're up into the top 10. Let's hear from Gary Ailes.
At the beginning of the race, my car was better than like the first four in front. The trouble is it's difficult to pass because the Panos are very good under brakes, and we are right on the limit. So I was quicker, but yeah, I couldn't find a way past.
And there is the Parabolica McLaren. It's off, it's in the gravel. Chris Goodwin's gone off in almost his opening lap of that stint, and he's going to need help to get out of there. The car's well dug in. Now, JJ Leto has walked down to the Gulf McLaren pit, and he's very, very angry about something. I would imagine that's because the Gulf McLaren was holding up Steve Soper. That was Jeff Lees who was being lapped. Most unlike the usually cheery JJ Leto. Now, the GT2 class, we've got a battle emerging here. That silver Porsche is Claudia Hurtgen, who's moving up. Whoa, elbowing her way through. That gives her third place in that class. Behind the two Vipers, still Gash and Beretta lead. Bell and Drudy second. Now, Steve Soper is really on a charge. There is the white McLaren. There ahead of it is the Mercedes with the red mirrors. That's the third-place car of Bernd Mailander. And despite this traffic and all these back markers, Steve Soper is driving the race of his life. He's in fourth place behind the three Mercedes, but he's right up with Mailander now. He's making up time through the back markers, and he's got a Mustang ahead of him. In fact, Mailander goes past the Mustang briefly. Steve Soper is held up before he too goes past the slower American car. As we've seen so often in this championship this year, it's the Mercedes-Benzes that are the quickest cars, but Steve Soper is driving an inspired race. He's determined to get in among them. Now the second round of pit stop starting. That's the Gulf McLaren with Anders Ollerström on board. Going back into the race, he's just taken over from Jeff Lees.
The car's handling okay. Just getting by the slow traffic is the problem.
This circuit seems particularly bad for that.
Yeah, it is. It's quite twisty around this back section, so the straights aren't long enough to get between the cars. It's very difficult.
Most of the second stops now completed. Bernd Schneider back in the lead car, having taken over from Alexander Wurz. But listen to this, Steve Soper's stop was incredibly quick. He stayed in the car, and now they're in second place. There's the Mercedes with yellow mirrors, still in the lead. Schneider back at the wheel, but the Steve Soper McLaren is now in second place, ahead of the Mercedes of Thiemann and the fourth-placed car of Bernd Mailander. So Mercedes under real pressure now for the first time here at Mugello, and Bernd Schneider storming through the back markers, trying to keep the pace up because the McLaren is not far behind him in second place. Coming up now to lap Pierluigi Martini, and the red GT1 Porsche goes alongside him. Oh, and they've collided! Off goes Pierluigi Martini. He hit the GT2 Porsche that he was lapping. The car of Bernhard Müller, and Schneider's off too! Schneider is off! Schneider was T-boned by the 911 as it went off. There is Pierluigi Martini walking back unharmed to the pits, but off is the lead car. The Mercedes is off. Bernd Schneider's looking at the right-hand side of the car. I think he's going to try and get it going. He's running round to the other side. But meanwhile, the McLaren of JJ Leto and now Steve Soper, there he is, leads the race here at Mugello. McLaren's lead Mercedes, a tremendous storming drive by Steve Soper, and off has gone the leading Mercedes of Bernd Schneider. But it's not over yet. Come back to Mugello with Schneider's Mercedes punted out of the race. Steve Soper leads for McLaren, but the third-place Mercedes of Maylander is now in the pits with problems. Let's see that accident again as Martini goes off to the right of your picture. Bernhard Muller's little Porsche goes off to the left, and out of our sight, T-bones Schneider. It's all good news for JJ Leto.
That's racing, you know. Sometimes it happens, and you know, we have been really unlucky in the last races, and hopefully the luck is turning a little bit, you know.
This will highlight that rule change, though, because you can't swap cars this time.
Well, this is it, you know. Now we can see how the rule is working, you know, and this is the right way to do it. You know.
Good to see you happy at the moment. When you first came in, we saw you on the wall. There was a bit of arm waving going on. What was that all about?
Well, it was because, well, one of the GTC McLarens didn't see Steve, you know, and Steve had a little moment, you know. I'm getting a little bit frustrated, you know, with those things, you know.
Well, you saw Schneider getting that battered Mercedes back to the pits, but I think his race is run. But now Steve Soper it is who's under pressure, because Alessandro Nannini is back in the Mercedes with the blue mirrors. Soper is the leader, but Nannini is right on his tail. And now this is a McLaren versus Mercedes battle for the lead. Soper versus Nannini, and look at Nannini go. Nannini on a home Italian circuit in front of an Italian crowd. He's being cheered to the echo. Steve Soper, the British driver in the BMW-powered Schnitzer McLaren, the all-Mercedes V12 car pursuing him. They're watching it in the pits. That's Lulu, Soper on the left, JJ Leto on the right, and they don't know whether to bite their nails or watch the picture as through the back markers, and in fact getting stuck behind one of the Lotuses there, Alessandro Nannini. The traffic always playing its part, the headlights blazing from these leading cars, and that's given Soper a little breathing space. The Lotus inadvertently held up the McLaren. There's the leading GT2 Viper of Gash and Beretta, but this battle at the front is keeping us all absolutely enthralled. Still, it's Soper, but now Nannini leaves his braking very late. He takes a wide line. He's going to try and tuck in on the inside. No, he's going to go round the outside. But Soper shuts the door once more. And Nannini was so late on the brakes for the sweeps up the hill. I thought he was going to go over the top of Soper's car. In fact, he's on the grass there. A mistake by Nannini, but he holds the car straight. Soper 1, Nannini 2, McLaren leads, Mercedes second, and the back markers still remaining a problem as they go thundering down the hill into the right-left sweeps behind the paddock. And still Steve Soper holds off Alessandro Nannini, two of the best drivers in endurance racing. Nannini, of course, a former Grand Prix star before he had that terrible injury in a helicopter accident. There you see him going over the curves, the Mercedes bouncing across the grass, but he gets it back onto the circuit again. It hasn't even slowed him down. Now there are some back markers in front again, and these should be keeping out of the way, but they could be crucial. That little 911 keeps out of the way, and now Nannini almost tucked under the back of the McLaren as they go through the tight right-hander and then accelerate on a twitch there from Nannini as he gets 650 horsepower going through the back wheels of that big silver Mercedes, and for a moment Soper eases away once more. Soper so smooth, so tidy. Nannini a little bit more untidy, but this Mercedes is a ferociously fast car. They're coming up behind one of the Lotuses once more. Headlights blazing from both McLaren and from Mercedes. Lulu doesn't know whether she should look or shut her eyes, and now Nannini is tucked in the slipstream as they come now down towards some back markers there, and Soper goes one side, and round the outside goes Nannini. A fantastic manoeuvre. He left his braking so late, and Mercedes lead once more. Nannini takes the lead from Steve Soper. Mercedes 1, McLaren 2. What a wonderful battle. There's still quite a lot of earth on the circuit there from where Nannini went off on the previous lap. It's very slippery here, but Nannini an inspired challenge, and in the end Steve Soper just had to give best. Well, behind all that excitement, the Dalmas Wallach Porsche is third, the Boots and Culliners Porsche is fourth, the Cox Ravaglia McLaren is fifth, and look at this gaggle of traffic with the Viper at the front of it. That's the GT2 leader of Beretta and Gash, and going past it the McLarens. One of them, incidentally, the yellow one, is the Chris Goodwin car, which did restart after its trip off into the gravel. And Chris Goodwin going much better now, and obviously very angry with himself about the delay that he's had. The Paynos, Brabham McCarthy, actually making up a place on Jeff Lees there, challenging and going past him, proving once again that the front-engine Paynos has been getting quicker and quicker throughout this season. And the number 7 Porsche, that's the Dalmas Wallach third-place car, a lap ahead of everybody, including Mauro Baldi, the red GT1 Porsche right behind him. Now, this Mercedes-McLaren battle isn't finished yet. In the pits, everybody's getting ready for their final stint. There's JJ Leto getting his helmet on. No mercy, it says on the back of his hat. And JJ Leto is going to get into that car. Look, Steve has got some loose bodywork by the right-hand door, which is possibly a problem for him, but Steve Soper still in second place in that white McLaren. That's the fourth-placed Porsche, the Boots and Kellner's car. Porsche's having a good race here. And into the pits now comes Steve Soper. Steve Soper brings in the second-place McLaren. He's had a wonderful drive. Just 44 years old yesterday, Steve Soper. He clambers out. His day's work is over, but JJ Leto gets in because he's still got some racing to do. They've got his special seat in, coming in from the other side. He's doing up his belts. They're refueling the car. The door is shut now. And when they've got the refueling finished, then they can start on the wheels and tyres. That's what the regulations say. You do the refueling, then you do the wheels and tyres. On go a new set of Michelins. Put your foot on the brake pedal, says the mechanic, so the wheel doesn't turn. We can get it tightened up and on quickly. Now they've got those wheels on. Off the tracks it goes. So JJ Leto back into the pits. Now this is the leading Mercedes in. And Nannini is staying in that car. Thiemann was ready to get in, but Nannini is staying in. They're refueling the car. You can see Thiemann just behind the car with his crash helmet on, waiting, but as JJ Leto goes roaring out, on go the headlights of the Mercedes. They're finishing off the wheels and tyres. It's ready, it's done, it's off the jacks, and away goes Alessandro Nannini. Is he going to get back in the lead? Yes, he does. He comes out again before the headlights of the McLaren come down the start-finish straight. Meanwhile, off goes the Collard Baldi Porsche. That looks pretty well done into the gravel, but we've got Mercedes in the lead, we've got McLaren in second place, Nannini is still the leader, but JJ Leto in second place, the fastest, most determined driver of all when his Scandinavian blood is up, and he is pushing hard. And remember that with Schneider out, of course, if Leto can get back into the lead, then he will get back into the lead also of the championship. That's the GT2 leader going slowly, the Beretta Gash Viper crawling round. And once more, bad luck has hit the number 51 Viper. That is going to promote the Justin Bell Viper into the lead of that GT2 class. There's Dave Price, the UK Panoz team leader, the McCarthy Brabham Panoz now in the top 10, but now the Mercedes has got the headlights of the McLaren in its mirrors. A little bit of bodywork hanging off on the front left-hand side of that Mercedes. Oh, and he's sideways! Oh, he nearly loses it. Nannini nearly loses it. Nannini goes wide, and that's going to change the lead. It has! The McLaren's got ahead. JJ Leto has taken the lead. It's McLaren 1, Mercedes 2. This is GT Championship racing at its absolute best. And meanwhile, Parabolica's Chris Goodwin has finished his stint, and he's talking to Dave Beckett.
Chris, you're not very happy.
No, it was, I suppose, my first big mistake of the year. I had a spin early in my stint, and it was just, you know, on my own. I just got slightly caught out by the car on full tanks. And I ended up just getting the rear wheels into the gravel. It was so frustrating, but the marshals wouldn't push me out. Fair enough, the car was in a fairly dangerous spot. So I lost a couple of laps, and I think the team left me out there for 2 hours to punish me. But we made up a bit of ground, but yeah, basically screwed the race up.
We're riding with Ralph Kelleners in his GT1 Porsche, battling with Frank Lagorce in the black Paynos, and in front of Lagorce is Justin Bell in the now GT2 class leading Viper. Lagorce pulls alongside, and Ralph Kelleners tucked inside. You see the brake lights going on of the Paynos as they turn into that long, long left-hander, then get the power on and go rocketing down towards the start-finish straight. There's Nannini slipping back now in second place. Behind him, Jeff Lees in the 8th place McLaren. In fact, Lees managing to unlap himself. Now, Bruno Eichmann in this silver Porsche, which he shares with Claudia Hurtgen. They're second in GT2 behind Justin Bell's Viper, but they're catching the Viper hand over fist. And in these closing stages, not only have we had a wonderful battle for the lead among the GT1 cars, but now we're about to have a GT2 battle too. That's Charlie Lamb, who manages the leading McLaren. There's Steve Soper watching JJ Lehto lead the race, the tension mounting in these closing stages as JJ Lehto continues to reel off the laps. There he is in this travel-stained McLaren, which has come up to the top from running 4th in the early stages. JJ and Steve have done a magnificent job of getting this McLaren back into the lead. And victory here will put Steve and JJ at the head of the FIA GT Championship table once more, with only the 2 final rounds in North America left to go. The Raphael Gounon McLaren is shadowing JJ there a lap down as he comes through the final long left-hander, and now the start-finish straight is in sight. The man with the checkered flag is in sight. The finish line is in sight, and the checkered flag waves now as JJ Lehto crosses the start-finish line, rejoicing from Charlie Lamb and Steve Soper in the Schnitzer BMW pit. A kiss from Steve for Lulu. A great victory for McLaren. Mercedes-Benz have been vanquished today here in Mugello, and McLaren are back on top.
That was a win you really needed.
Yeah, it's always nice to win, but we have opened our chances again for the championship, so we now come away with 7 points, 2 races to go. Anything's possible.
There must have been a time when you thought Mercedes were just going to keep getting ahead now.
Well, you always need a bit of luck in motor racing, and I mean, they showed the sportiness, and Snyder couldn't jump into another car today, so I think we did a good job. Team, tyres, drivers. I think the whole package worked very well today.
Alessandro Nannini comes home second for Mercedes, but here's Bruno Eichmann's Porsche weaving about because that car is running out of petrol. There are some fast cars coming up behind, and he weaves across very dangerously and crosses the line finally second for GT2.
So the luck this time with Lehto and Soper. Mercedes forced into second, Dalmas and Wallach in third. Not such a good day for Parabolica, out of the points after Goodwin's spin.
I just went out and enjoyed myself. From 13th you can't do anything, so just thought I'd have a bit of fun. So no, it's great, it's good.
Disappointment for Chris. Will you have a word with him now to cheer him up?
Yeah, I feel sorry for the boy because we're all under a lot of pressure, you know, and it's easy, so easy to make a mistake, and we've all done it, so it doesn't worry me. I've done it before, so no, he'll be fine. We'll have a few beers tonight and he'll be fine.
Of course, this man here, Jeff Lees, just edged you out. Jeff, you must be happy with your day's work?
Yeah, not so bad. I think we started 16th on the grid, so to finish 8th is not so bad.
We were flying to begin with, absolutely flying, but then the tyres went away, and then we had an engine problem, so it's a question of nursing the old girl back home. But that was a tough race, I tell you, physically very demanding. We've all felt it in a big way, you know.
What is it about this circuit then that makes it such a struggle?
I think it's the corners.
In GT2, Justin Bell's win means he's now just 1 point behind Hurtgen and Eichmann with 2 races to go.
We really had to work for that one. That was, I mean, it was a little unfortunate for obviously Olivier and Philippe that the 51 car had a problem. We still don't know what that was, but we were working our butts off to get ourselves in the position that we could win. And I tell you, with that Porsche catching us up at the end, I had no brakes, so I was having to balance my time with a lot of discipline, and oh, it was fantastic.
But it's the battle between Mercedes and McLaren BMW for the GT1 title that's really come to life. JJ Lehto and Britain's Steve Soper retake the lead after their victory here in Italy, but can they keep Bernd Schneider at bay?
Fans have flocked